On this episode, bring the option. Hey everybody, this is the quarter show, and Ben and I were talking about today, and we actually just were doing it in fact, but a long-standing lesson or successful action or something that is just a smart play, frankly, just a smart play in sales is like this, okay? Imagine you're buying a car for a second. Imagine you're buying a car and you are decided on one specific deal. You're saying, okay, you have a contract in front of you. Price is, let's say the payment's $500 per month, and you're looking at this and you're about to sign. The smart thing to do for the salesperson, let's just say in that conversation you knew that there was a car that was maybe a little bit more and maybe a little higher end. For example, let's call it a BMW 328, let's say BMW 328, and then you have a BMW M3, which we know is a higher end, high performance car. Same car, but it's upgraded.
We all know that.
Let's just take that. Well, we should know that. Let's just take that as an example.
Yeah.
They're about to sign this contract, but they really want this, or that that's the right play for them. Now, obviously, we're talking about cars, so it's not necessarily needed, but there may be different scenarios in your business. The smart play is to go ahead and create the contract and create the agreement and pre-negotiate that deal for them and get as close to this one as possible. Maybe it's a little bit more, but bring that to the table. And then you can slide it on the table and say, look, here's this deal. I went ahead and made a contract for this deal. I've locked in this. This one is $100 more per month. I know it's a little bit more, but it gets what you want. It's very, very, very close. I'm putting this in front of you just in case you want to just go with this, because I think this is actually more what you want, but you're probably going on this because of price. The probability of them signing that is probably very high when you put it in front of them and they say, you know what, yeah, man, okay, good, let's do it. I want to do this. And you can relate that whether you're in business-to-business enterprise sales. For us, we're an agency, we sell a lot of different things, but a lot of times people will lead with price. They'll lead with budget. And the thing about leading with price and budget is that often it'll lead to a poor decision. Often it won't get you fully what you wanted to get. And so it's actually the wrong tool for making a decision. So it'll lead you down a path that kind of gets there, but is not really what you wanted. So you'd be wise to say, here's this contract, let's say in our scenario, maybe it's for a single project that we're going to be doing. Here's this contract for a single project. And then you go behind the scenes and you negotiate, you put together a strategy or a package that truly solves their problem, that truly gets to the root of the cause, truly handles what they need. Yes, it's more money. You negotiate the best possible deal that you can put in for them and make it a deal that it's hard to say no to, and put that in front of them at the close and say, I've put together this deal, I've pre-negotiated this deal, the rate on each individual item is lower than this item overall, so you'd be better. This actually solves the problem you're trying to solve, and if you have any inkling to go and do future projects, you're probably going to need eventually more than this, so you may as well do this. I'm putting this in front of you anyway. Take a look at it, let me know what you think, or maybe if you like that, move forward on that. The probability of them moving forward on is very high, but I think what a lot of salespeople do is they stick to just one thing, and they just stick to what has been discussed or whatever, and they don't preemptively go do the work to create an agreement, create a contract, create pricing, create a quote or whatever, and pre-negotiate it, package it all up, and give them a sweet deal or give them a sweet package that truly does solve their problem, and then put it in front of them. Because what you want to do is you want to plant that seed. You want to plant the seed, you want to put it in front of them, and certainly at the close, you can bring that at the close, and the probability of them upselling or upgrading and signing it is high. And it's not just about you getting a bigger commission or a bigger deal or anything like that. That this package should be a better solution for them in some regard, and you try and match up the price as best you can. You try and get as close as or make it a sweet deal any way you can. But my point is that if you don't do that, many times you are absolutely leaving money on the table. You're leaving opportunity on the table, and you're probably going to have to do the sale anyway at a later point. They're probably going to have to come back, which is fine. You could do it that way, but you could also just bring the deal to the table and say, hey, look, you were looking at doing this one thing. I've packaged this up and given the sweetest possible thing. Why don't we do all 6? We'll get all 6 rolling right now. I've given you scaled rate pricing on the all 6. Here you go. I know this is what you actually want. This actually solves the problem. And they take a look at that and say, it's very tempting if you put that in front of you, for example, and you look at it, you go, you know what, he's right, and we need this, and okay, let's move forward. You know?
And a big part of this is being prepared. You have to know your product really, really well.
Yeah.
You have to be already thinking about it beforehand so that you can prep the contracts, prep what you're going to communicate, so that you're not just like pushing money at them or something like that. Be like, money. You got to really, like Robert mentioned, you have to be ready to solve a problem. You have to be like focused on what they're trying to solve and what they're dealing with. So you have to like understand it as well as you possibly can, and then be prepared so that there's no lag and there's no, hold on one sec, I'm going to put together a new contract for you or whatever. You don't want to add time at any point into this thing.
Yeah, because people skimp on deals even though they know they shouldn't, and sometimes they need that extra little nudge to be pushed over. You know, when you look at like maybe buying an iPhone, maybe you go in and you go like, oh, you know, my last one's 32 gigs, and maybe you're like, oh, I'll get the 32 gig again. But the salesperson, sales rep, Apple rep, they know that you're going to run out of memory. You probably need 256. You should really do 256. You know you should do 256.
I do now.
And I think it's ridiculous for them to say, oh, okay, yeah, let me get you the 32 gig, when you know 256 is the right play.
Yeah.
And they really should say, you know what? How much memory do you have? Okay, how much is left? Are you still using it? You think you're going to take? Why don't we, you know what? I gave you a deal. Here's the thing on the 256. You should really go for the 256. I think it actually gets what you need, and then you don't have to upgrade it. You don't run out of space, and you know, You walk out of there with 256. You're actually happy about it, and you're thankful that you went with that option. And it doesn't mean you have to upgrade everybody and always jam things down people's throats, but first look at what is the actual right play for them. If money had nothing to do with it, what's the actual right play for them? And then go ahead and package that up and try and give them the best possible deal that you can, and put that option in front of them. If they don't sign it and they go with the one you're already discussing, you're good. They're good, you're good, everything's fine. But if they happen to go for the other one, it's probably a better option for them. It's better for them, it's better for you, it's better for everybody. And so you may as well bring that option, plant that seed, and bring it to the table at the close, rather than leaving opportunities, leaving things on the table, and leaving them walking away with something that kind of does it, but partially doesn't do it, doesn't solve all their problems, which I think a lot of people and a lot of companies get into, because people natively, human beings natively, are kind of leading with budget, leading with price, being price conscious many, many times. They're like, oh, you know, I really want this, but I'll get this. I really want this. And that happens so often. Very few people swing for the fences and go for the thing that they want. They typically take a little bit more. When you get into buying, the buying patterns of most people are kind of conservative. It starts coming into a conservative area, and I think it's up to the person selling, the person who's consulting, to shed light on the solution and push them towards the solution that's actually more ideal.
Yeah, and you know, it's all, another strategy on this is to go for that second sale once they've signed the contract, and then you go, here's also some additional things we should look at now. But the thing is, you have to think with it. You have to think with who's in front of you, how it's gone so far. You know, because on the one hand, sometimes you want to just make them a client. You know they need to be a client, so you want to do whatever it takes to get the signature initially. But then sometimes you're going to run into folks who it's like it's going to be a much harder second sale, and you don't want to do that. So it's like you want to put it up front first and go, look, this is what you really need. I don't want to get a signed thing on this smaller thing that, yeah, it's going to help you, but it's not going to solve the problem that we have discussed. You know, so it's a little bit of a, you have to be thoughtful, and you have to pay attention to who's in front of you, I think, to some degree, to decide if you want to like go all in with all your chips immediately, or if you want to like get that client done.
This is right at the close, by the way. This is when they're about to sign on the paper, or you know it's very close, or it's right there.
Yeah.
This is bringing that option in and saying, you know what, I put this here, we should really be looking at doing this. And you can do that. I hear what Ben's saying, and I don't disagree with it. Obviously, you always need to apply and use judgment, for sure. But I think what you find in many cases is when you look at it and you're at the close and they're about to sign, if they're going to sign this, and then you bring this in that's a very good deal, and it makes practical sense. Yes, it's more or whatever, but
like the one we just discussed.
Yeah, like the one we
just discussed. It was
discussed.
right. He's like, okay, cool, we'll sign off, and it's like, well, let me show you.
Yeah, we're nearly there, and you put it there, and then they end up potentially signing it, and maybe they don't. Even if they don't sign, they go, oh no, we're going to stick with this option. It's like, okay, well, at least you have this agreement or this contract or this proposal to consider going forward or next, and then it maybe a week later they might come back and say, you know what, can we upgrade this thing or whatever. My point really is just not bringing it to the table, not putting that option there, not being proactive, not introducing these different ideas to your client or prospect, is leaving opportunities on the table, number one, and number two, probably not fully solving their problem. And even if they don't do it, it's important to bring it to the table and bring the other option, and bring something that is usually bigger than what they're going after, because like I said, the buying pattern is conservative. 9 times out of 10, they're deciding and choosing a solution that's too small. In most cases, in most businesses, whether it's an iPhone or it's an enterprise software or it's something else, often the default setting is a conservative approach, and it's up to you to sort of bring that in and try and go to bat for them and try and put together the best possible, most logical deal that actually gets them where they want to go.
Makes sense.
So there you go. Hope that helps. We'll have more coming at you soon. If you like the channel, make sure to subscribe right there, and then hit the like button and share it on social, and
share it with your sales teams. Share it with your sales people. Get them to subscribe.
Yeah, and feel free to leave comments and things like that. All right. Thanks.